John Wiedman is a man of great dedication to his family, his career, and his community. Fitting the mold of a pioneer hero, John is an ordinary person who does extraordinary things to make this area a better place in which to live. John Wiedman was born in Dalton, Pennsylvania. As he would remind us, it wasn't in one of those big houses. That was on the other side of town. His mom, Millie, was the town nurse for a local doctor. His dad, Ned, a steel inspector. And because both parents worked, Grandma watched John and his older sister, Debbie. John lived a typical middle-class life on Lily Lake Road, playing with matchbox cars and Tonka trucks, and the bevy of kids who gathered daily to build that sense of neighborhood.
Oh, we would play ball, we would play trucks, we would play hide and seek. We had the woods, which was probably maybe a quarter of an acre at the top of Hess Street, which we played in all the time. Sure. So that was fun.
John loved the life he had and the place he lived.
A little tiny community. There was three grocery stores. I remember at one point a pharmacy, a library. My father was very active in the Dalton Community Library. One grade school. We had a grade school in Dalton, right downtown, which everybody was able to walk to when we were kids. And at that point, we didn't have a YMCA, or we didn't really have a big downtown. So we played in the neighborhood. We never, I think I was probably 10 or 12 years old before we went downtown. And then I was fortunate because my aunt and uncle had a grocery store and I was able to go downtown.
And after school, weekends, and during the summer, John would work at that store. One of only 2 jobs he ever had in his entire life. John attended Dalton Elementary School, then Lackawanna Trail High School. Never a big sports guy, John did join the ski club and got involved in other activities with his friends. And a lesson well learned by John while growing up, a community-minded spirit to do all you can to help others.
My father was very active in athletics. My father, like I said, our neighbor who was his best friend was like in charge of every kind of athletic event at the school. And I was never very athletic, but I was able to go, and believe me, I like to go. My father was very active in Lions Club, very active in, it was a small Rotary club there for a while, not long. And with the library, my father was, I think, president of the library for years. And, he always, you have to get involved. You have to do this. You have to make sure that, you make a difference. And my mother was equally the same way. My mother was very active in the office with the patients, but always very active with the Salvation Army. I can remember people would come in, and of course you wouldn't have credit cards at that time, and they would run out of gas, they would be in town, they would run out of food, and my mother would have to, issue them a voucher to buy groceries, to buy gas.
John's major goal in high school was to graduate and get out. By his own admission, he was an average student, and college was not his thing. But at his parents' urging, he tried a semester. While at college, someone told John's mom there was a job opening at First National Bank of Carbondale. The 18-year-old applied, was offered the job, and had no hesitation in accepting the position.
None whatsoever. I wanted to get out of school. That was what I wanted to do.
That series of events led John not only to the second job he ever had and a 48-year banking career, but also a path that would have a tremendous impact on our community. His first assignment was a 2-year stint at the bank's Dalton branch, then the downtown Carbondale building. From the name change of Pioneer American in 1988 to the 2000 merger to form Penn Star and ultimately NBT Bank, John has led a storied career. He did realize the value of a good education, and his love for banking saw John attend Lackawanna College and the University of Scranton to complete the rigorous American Banking Institute program. After promotions to the loan department, then real estate, he became the Vice President and Business Development Officer, a position he's held for 19 years.
The real estate department, that was basically based out of New York. And they at one point had asked me, do I want to go to New York? No, I didn't really want to go to New York. And people are that's what I like.
And one other thing happened to John while working at the bank. He met the love of his life and future wife, Kathy, who worked as the secretary for the bank's president. They married in 1978 and moved to Carbondale. Kathy and their kids, Jill and Matthew, held down the fort while John was out in the community.
And she's really the one that's allowed me to, do all the work that I did at night and, be involved in the hospital and the Y and the CLIDCO and the Housing Authority. And she took care of the kids while I did all that. Yeah.
The lessons learned about community service from his parents served John well in his career.
We never had any money. That was when I was at the Y. We didn't know how we were going to make payroll. We couldn't buy copy paper. We couldn't buy anything. But we always made it work because it was a place for the children to go. And we had programs for underprivileged children who couldn't afford to pay and didn't pay. And we always found some way to do that. So that's where my heart is with the Y. And my gosh, it's just phenomenal what they did. And the town needs it. If any children need to be molded, my did and my kids, their ages needed it, but it's really something now that we've got to do. And the Y just does a fantastic job.
From involvement in the first Capitol campaign to the ultimate events that led to the burning of the YMCA's substantial mortgage, John Wiedman has been a fixture at the Y and in the Pioneer City. Still maintaining an office in the same building he's occupied for decades, John's passion for his job and love of the community that he serves is just as strong today as it was 48 years ago, when that 18-year-old boy emphatically said yes to his new career.
I just want to thank everyone for coming tonight, and a special thank you to everyone at the Carbondale YMCA for all you do for every child in this town. And I do get very emotional when I talk about it. Thank you all for coming.